So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the original Nintendo Switch versions of Guilty Gear Strive and Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl 2 and comparing them to how they run on the Switch 2. Are there any notable improvements at all? If you remember, Nick All-Stars 2 actually had a lot of problems on the original Switch, from super long loading times and frame rate issues, so it's going to be interesting to take a look at that. But let's start with Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear Strive was a super highly optimized game on the original Nintendo Switch. In a lot of ways, it actually even performed better than the PlayStation 4 version, where it's able to load matches twice as fast. Yeah, that is something that I still can't believe exists. But did it get any buffs with the Switch 2? And with how well optimized it already was, are these changes even going to be noticeable? So without wasting any more time, let's just get into it. So in Guilty Gear Strive, let's first compare how fast either console takes to load the game into the main menu. And right off the bat, we're seeing a massive difference with the Switch 2 already loading things a lot quicker. Now we're going to be communicating with the servers for a while. You know what? That takes a long time no matter what console you're on. But the Switch 2 gets to the main menu considerably faster. Now let's try and see if there's any difference in loading speeds for local versus matches. If you remember on the original Switch, when I made that first comparison video when Guilty Gear Strive port first came out back in January, they were already pretty fast for Guilty Gear Strive on the Switch, almost instant. But let's see if there's any speed ups on the Switch too. So it's a few seconds faster, which honestly is not that surprising. Pretty much every game from the original Switch is getting some noticeable speed enhancements on the Switch 2, even one as well optimized as Guilty Gear Strive. Now let's move on to the story mode, because that had some issues. You know what, I was surprised to see that the cutscenes in the story mode are all still very low resolution on the Switch 2. But I guess that just means that they were uploaded videos at super low resolutions instead of in-engine cutscenes. So with that out of the way, now let's just head on over to Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2. This game had some super long loading times, and I mean very, very long, not unlike Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch, and it had an array of other issues as well. But let's see how quickly the Switch 2 is able to boot this game up compared to the original Switch. And as we can see, the Switch 2 loads it several times faster. Like, I could probably load the game, go into versus mode, and load a match in the time that it takes the original Switch to boot the game. Probably. Maybe not, but probably. I think there's a chance. Well, that took a really long time. So let's just jump into a local CPU match and see how long that takes to load. So the Switch 2 loaded it a few times faster than the original Switch, and when it comes to the gameplay, I gotta say, when I was playing it, I really didn't feel any differences. You know what, I understand that there was supposed to be some major performance hiccups in ways of the frame rate, but that may have been ironed out with some performance patches early in the game's life, because I remember hearing about some patches for this game back then, but I never covered it back when it was out, back when it was new, I should say. MK1 was new at the time, so I was focused on that instead. But yeah, performance-wise, this game feels pretty fine to me, except for the loading times. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Switchplayed. Done.